Welcome to TJ Works Wood, everybody. I'm TJ. Today we won't be working that much wood. This is video 2 and hopefully a 2 or 3 part installment. We'll see. Part 1 was building this Cyclone separator. The video link for that should be up here or over here, wherever. So check that out. Today we're going to be working on the impeller. Kind of. I'll tell you about that here in a second. The blower housing, and then also just getting it all completely set up. So like and subscribe if you haven't. Throw some comments in. Let me know if there's anything you think I should have done differently. There's probably a million things because I was kind of flying by the seat of my pants on this. Anyway, I hope you enjoy, and we'll see you in a second. Okay, like I said at the beginning, we're going to be working on the impeller, the blower, and final assembly. Long story short, I deleted all the footage of me building the impeller. Here's what we ended up with. Started off with this guy. It was a little too big, but I'm going to hold on to it because it's really nice. Second try was this size. It was horrible. MDF, don't do it. It was completely out of whack with weight, so I knew I wasn't going to keep it, so I was just throwing weights on just to see if I could balance it. Long story short, I couldn't. And then this one, which is like the first one, plywood and solid wood. Plywood outsides and solid wood fins. And yeah, it came out great. Had to balance it a little bit by shaving these areas off with the sander. I'm actually going to link, again, either here or here, maybe just like right here, and definitely put in the description the link to the video I used to build the impeller. It's really pretty straightforward. It's just the impeller. Then for the blower, again, building the first half of it, I lost that footage as well. It was a stupid mistake. Don't hit Command Z after you copy files into a folder. Long story short. Anyway, overall, I made this MDF template. This circle here, I hope you can see it on the screen, is the impeller size. And then I went 1.5, 2, 2.5, and 3 inches out and just made that circular. Came out. That's 6 inches for the output. And I cut 3 of these out. 1 for the bottom, which is this, it's upside down, and then 2 for the top. And that's about where you see it come in here in just a moment, is me putting in the 2 top pieces. So again, sorry for that lost footage, but hopefully it all makes sense. Again, like and subscribe, and enjoy. Cool. So not only did I delete the clips of building the impeller, but I also forgot to unplug the Bluetooth microphone receiver from my camera, so there's absolutely no audio for these first few clips. So with this, it was a tight fit. I'm not sure if there was a better way to put the second part of the blower housing on, or the upper part. But as you can see, I tried quite a few ways and eventually just used a mallet on the inside to kind of pop it into place, and putting the second half of the top half on was not quite as difficult. I just kind of lined it up and smashed it down a little bit, which really worked out. It got done pretty quick. Then I just screwed the first piece on, and then took the second piece out and cut this opening for the impeller to slide into. So I just line up the template back onto the second half of the upper part of the blower housing to mark the center hole, and I use this center hole to attach my router jig to cut a larger than the impeller sized hole. And I do halfway down on this side, and then I flip it over and do halfway down on the other side to avoid any tear out. And this is going to
provide two pieces. It's going to provide part of the mount to the motor and also a flange-ish type thing to hold on the motor mount to the blower housing. Okay, I lied. I'm going to use a template one last time here to again mark center point of the bottom portion of the blower housing, so that way I can get the input, the suction input drilled out on the housing so the impeller will actually do its job. And now you'll see here that I'm using the cutout portion to make the mount for the motor and impeller to be able to sit inside the blower housing to do what a dust collector does best, and suck. Building the rest of the mount was literally just kind of doing it as I went. No real plan. I just kind of zoomed through this bit because, like I said, it was just kind of me guessing, doing some measurements here and there and just trying to get it soundly supported. It's not pretty, but it does get the job done, much like myself. Off camera, I drilled the hole in this piece of what was scrap and is now a functioning piece of the blower housing, and then just stapled it on with some glue on the bottom, and then I'm using the staple gun again, not to secure the PVC to the blower housing exactly. It's just more of a temporary wedge into there. It doesn't penetrate the PVC, it's just wedging it into the wood there so I can put the screws in. Now once I get it screwed down, it's not airtight by any means, so I do go ahead and throw some caulk on there, silicone caulk, and of course I use way too much, and it's sealed though. It doesn't look pretty, but it works. Again,
alright, so these are just going to be little toggles to hold the thing on. So it'll be on, just do like that, and then when we set it up there we can just kind of swing it on, swing it off, and I'll hold it on while we put the actual bolts on. So I'm going to add 3 more and we'll be good.
So again, back to building the mount, it was just kind of a trial and error. I just wanted to make sure to get it centered and then build the mount to have it be the correct distance away from the wall. Here I'm using a 3/4 inch Forstner bit to drill a hole all the way through one 2x4 and partially way through a second 2x4, and I'll show you exactly why here in just a second, but this is part of the mounting bracket, the full hole being on the back of the motor and the half hole being on the wall mount.
So the gist here is this is going to be mounted on this, and then this will be mounted on the wall. This is all upside down. I'm going to put padding on all 3 of these, and then this will slide down, and there'll be kind of padding just to keep the shaking to a minimum. I have no idea if it'll work, but it's an experiment. Let's see what happens. Okay, so okay. Okay, so let's see how this works. Cross your fingers. Hopefully I can pick this up.
Well, I thought I was going to be strong enough to just hoist this over my head and put it up on its mount, but I guess that one time I worked out in high school wasn't quite enough because it didn't take, and I wasn't able to do this in this fashion, but I wanted to keep trying. I also knew that if I fell, I would be the star of my own fail video, and I needed a witness, so I went in to get one.
Could you do me a solid and come out to the garage and just hang out for a minute? Because I'm up on a ladder lifting this thing that's pretty heavy.
Even with the witness there, I still wasn't able to lift it over my head. But she stood there the whole time while I stood in silence just staring at it.
Am I boring you? Oh, you know what I could do? Thank you.
Sorry.
I know what I'm gonna do though.
Okay.
That was a failure. Oh boy, that was scary, but you got an idea. Alright. Round two, let's try it. Okay, so what I've done, this is actually a fair bit of weight here. I removed the engine, motor, impeller, and mount from the bracket. I'm going to put this up there, and I put these on here, and I put a back piece on the mount, the motor mount. So I'm going to put this up there, and then just more easily be able to put the motor back here, and then once it's on here, it'll be supported, and then I can wrangle it and get it screwed back together how I need it. All right, should be a lot easier this time. All right, it's bedtime. All right, so motor up there with the impeller on the wall, so it's mounted, and now we got to get everything else up there. Before we do that though, I want to put in something to keep any large pieces of debris from coming up the intake and hitting the impeller, which, you know, that could destroy the entire thing and be pretty dangerous. So what I'm going to do is put in this universal strainer. It's 4 gutters, but it's for our purposes, I think this will be great. It's just this wire mesh, and what I'm going to do is put it in here, and then just put some staples into the wood at the top. This will obviously be, it goes in better this way. Oops. Go in like this, and then staple it to the wood here, and that way it won't impede the airflow too much, and also keep the debris outside of the impeller box. So let me do that, and then we'll get back to it and start getting everything up on the wall. All right. Thankfully, this thing is really light. All right, and the blower is on the wall. Now I've got to build, of course, the filter box, which I have the parts for, and that's going to be our next step. So not exactly sure how I'm going to do it, but whatever, we'll get it done. I've been flying by the seat of my pants most of this build, so what's a little extra, right?
Before the filter box, we'll go ahead and put the Cyclone on, and it does just pressure fit, but I did make just a very basic mount for it to sit on the wall.
All right, so if you'll remember from the video on building this, which again we'll link somewhere up here, the bottom connectors, I've placed a hose connection on that, and then on this bucket, I'm going to take this off, but did the same thing on this. I'm going to put this here with a little bit of flex hose, just a little bit, so I don't have to worry about taking this off or anything to empty the bin out. So let me do that real quick, and then we'll give it its first test run. Exciting stuff.
Now that the Cyclone is on and the dust collection bucket is on the bottom of that, I'll go ahead here and start making the fittings to connect the blower to the filtration box that we'll be building here in just a minute.
Didn't film it, but push this on. It's just a pressure fit, really hard to get on. So I'm hoping it just doesn't come off. And then I did some brads in here, or staples along here. I'm going to staple it up to the exhaust outlet of the dust collector, and then I'm going to put some caulk around here and around the outside just to give it some extra seal. So let's get to that and see what we can do.
I'll go ahead and start the build of the filtration box. I don't really go into too much detail. It's just a really simple, basic box. I measure it up to make sure that the filters that I'm using, which are 24 by 12 by 1, will fit in there, and I double those up. I then put a face frame, I guess you could call it, on the box to hold the filters in, and then I use just some weather stripping to go around that, a piano hinge, and then just some window latches to keep it closed and a little bit of pressure on it. To mount it on the wall, what I'm going to do is make French cleat. That is a 45-degree rip down of just a piece of plywood. Part of it goes on the wall, part of it goes on the back of the box. Here I am just mounting the cleat to the wall and then putting the box up, simply just resting it on that cleat.
Alright, so this, I think this actually looks pretty decent. Now I'm going to hook it up and see what kind of business we can get. All right, so we got it all done. Cyclone, blower, filter box, all connected. Flex hose on here. Now let's see what kind of wind speed we're getting at the end of the flex hose. Well, I gotta say, this is an exciting number. It maxed out at 4,134 feet per minute. Now, let's go check out and see what the Dust Right does. Okay, so we've got actually a shorter run here. There is 90 here, so that might impede it a little bit, but let's see how it matches up to the homemade dust collection. So this is pretty cool. This is running at 2,618 feet per minute, going through just right here. No separator or anything into the 5-micron bag. It's probably reduced a little bit by this 90, but I don't think by much, so I'm happy. I think the difference is worth it. So I don't know if I'm going to keep this or not now. We'll see. So anyway, again, thanks for watching this. Like and subscribe, and if you have any feedback, put it down in the comments. My next video is going to be me setting up the piping. I've got a bunch of 4-inch PVC that I'm going to use to pipe around, and then automate the blast gates. So join me for that, and then we can all argue about static discharge. Anyway, thanks for watching.